is why we have this business. So when stuff like this happens, we can still make money and we don't have to rely on a paycheck from a boss. Hey everybody, Dan Henry here, and I'm here with Tin Man Lee, who has an amazing success story. He did his beta webinar, and he did $20,000 from his beta webinar. And just to give you guys a little bit of a background on what a beta webinar is, it's the webinar you do to test selling your program. You'll do this webinar before you ever create your program. It's a pre-sell. You're pre-selling your program. So you don't even have to create the program to do this. You can get some cash injection. You can make some money, verify that people are willing to pay for your program, and then begin building the program to your beta students. So thank you so much for coming on. Tin, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great, Dan. Yeah, thank you very much to have me.
Awesome, awesome. So this is really cool. Now, you did a beta webinar. Have you, at the time of doing the beta webinar, did you create your program yet, or did you finish it yet?
No, I haven't. So awesome. Yeah, there's really
well, now you're going to get to work, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, cool. And your program, we talked a little bit before the call, your program is on photography for wildlife, right?
Yes, correct. How do you improve your photography for especially the action photography, like birds flying, animals running? How do you get sharp pictures of those?
Okay, so how to do outdoor wildlife action photography, meaning like the animals are moving and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, like, sweet. All right, that's awesome. That's awesome. You know, a lot of people think that in order to be successful at courses or programs or coaching, that you have to always sell like a financial offer or a make money offer or a weight loss offer. But there's so many people that are making such great money doing offers that are just, you know, not in those common industries like yours, outdoor wildlife. That's awesome. So I want to say congratulations. That's killer. And I want to ask you a few questions about your experience with selling your offer and also working with me in my program to help you do that. So
Sure.
The first question I have is, before you started working with us to help you build your online education business, before you decided to become a client, what was the problem that you had? What was the big problem that you had?
So before I work with you, I have been very passionate about wildlife photography, and I wanted to create a course. And of course, I heard of places like ClickFunnels and you know, the perfect webinar and all these things. And so I thought, maybe I can do it. So I created a product based on what I want to do, but the result wasn't that good. And then one time I heard some of your webinars, and your idea really echoed with me, which is you really have to understand what the clients really wanted, and that echoed strongly with me because for photography as well, a lot of people just bring their cameras out, and then whatever they see, they take pictures. They didn't study from the grandmasters, like, you know, Van Gogh, Da Vinci, and those, and then reverse the process. And I thought, wow, Dan has this idea that I haven't even thought of to apply to my own course. And so that's when so that's my big discovery. And before I worked with you, I really had no idea. I thought, okay, I think people will buy this because I'm passionate about it. But no, you know, when the thing is, when we are passionate about something, we work on that, and we thought, okay, this is something that I think the people would like. But what I didn't know was people haven't even gone to that level yet. They are still, for example, what I wanted to teach originally was how to take pictures so that you can evoke emotion in the viewers. But after working with you, I realized that I have to reverse the process and talk to the people. What is your biggest struggle on photography? And turn out that 90% of the people who went into wildlife photography couldn't even get a sharp photo in the beginning. So when I tell them, hey, my class can teach you how to evoke emotion in the viewers, they thought, what are you talking about? I can't even get a sharp photo. So that's the huge change from my perspective.
Cool, man. And just to be clear, you did this recently, right? Like within the last, what, week?
I did it on Monday, which is 2 days ago.
2 days ago. And for anybody watching, right now we are dead in the middle of this coronavirus outbreak. So if you're watching in the future or you're watching now, just know that, yes, the economy is like shut down, like everybody's at home. A lot of people that are working 9 to 5s have lost their jobs or have their jobs temporary on hold. But for us that have online businesses, for us that sell informational products, clearly we're still doing well. I mean, this is your first big successful webinar. It was 2 days ago, right in the middle of all of this. You still made $20,000. So there's no excuse for anybody to not be making money right now in online business, especially in selling info products, because this is why we have this business. So when stuff like this happens, we can still make money and we don't have to rely on a paycheck from a boss. And so I just wanted you guys to understand is this happened in the midst of all this. This is why selling online coaching and courses and programs like this is such a great business. So that's awesome, man. That's really killer. Now, why did you choose to work with us? Why did you choose to become a client of ours over anybody else? What was specifically the reason you chose to work with us?
Before I get into that, I want to add two things when you mentioned about right now in this period, why it was so tough. And indeed, I thought about not doing it on 2 days ago because I talked to myself and said, am I the stupidest person to actually try to sell in the worst time in history? And everybody are losing their jobs and they're working from home. They don't even know if they have any savings for next month, right? So what should I really postpone it, right? And so that's the first question. But then I decided to still go. But the biggest issue that I never expected was during this time, especially these few days, everybody are working from home. And just like today, right, we have some Wi-Fi issues. And turned out that when I gave my beta webinar, the internet was basically dead. Like every 30 seconds.
Oh, that's right. You said that it crashed, right? And you were like devastated and you still make 20.
Every 30 seconds, the video would stop for 10 seconds. So I was expecting all these nice comments from the people listening, but everybody said, I just got kicked out. My computer crashed. And now I was like, oh my God, I'm going to fail so bad. But so basically I talked for 30 seconds and every time my sentence was broken in half and then I repeat it. And it was so terrible that by the end of the talk, when I gave the offer, I felt so worried and I didn't even dare to check my emails like an hour after the talk. And when I look at it, then I saw 70 people purchase it. And so it just gave me so much, like not only the income, but also a lot of the confidence that during this difficult time, there is something that can be done. And in response to the question that you just asked, the first thing is what I just mentioned to you. First of all, you have some crazy testimonials in your page, and
like this one.
Yes,
it's amazing what happens when you make a great product.
Thank you. So yeah, this is one of them. But then the second, actually there are three reasons. The second thing is during your when I watch your webinar, the passion and also the wisdom that you put into it, like you really know. It seems to me that you really already cracked the code of like how to understand the human psychology and all this. And for me, like I'm in photography, right? And I have. Just like you, I also purchased tons of those courses out there too. I took classes from most of the grandmasters in photography. But a lot of the time, for example, sometimes you see that a photographer may be from those National Geographic and these really famous names, right? And then you thought, okay, if I take classes from these guys, I'm going to be good, right? But the problem is that a lot of the time, these masters, they have a big budget. They have special permit to go to some places that we have never been to. So sometimes, and then they can spend 6 months in a place to get a snow leopard and those. And for us, just mere mortals, we couldn't do that. But for me, I felt this strong connection with you. Like you are like one of us. Like you're struggling in the beginning. You started from nothing. You started from scratch. and but then you are so successful right now, and I look at that. So this is your own example of success. And another thing is you really care. I can see that you really care about the people. Every time when I look at the testimonials, you really went into details to really help the people, and you have the brain to help them. That's the thing. Like, for example, when I took classes from some of the really famous, the gurus of photography, right? And I said, how do I create a visual impact in my photos? They would say, oh, just be one with nature. Work hard.
That sounds helpful.
Yeah. So a lot of the tutorials out there, if you pay big money for these famous photographers, this is what they tell you. Like, just work hard. Like, look at me. Like, I work for 30 years.
A lot of business gurus are the same way. They're just like, oh, just stick it through, and they don't give you any specifics, any directions, any systematic ways to stick it through or to evaluate what's happening. I totally agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I felt this strong connection when I went into your coaching call, for example, working with the clients. They give you an example, like from an industry out of nowhere, but you were able to pinpoint and tell them their weakness. And the other thing I love about you is you're so brutally honest. You don't sugarcoat stuff, which is somebody will be afraid of you. But for me too, in my business, in my own photography, I can be kind and nice to people, and they will not improve. But sometimes when you are very honest to them, you really hurt their feeling. And I have seen new photographers, when I tell them this photo is not working because this and that, they're quitting. They're no longer taking photos. But you have this style that you are both super funny, and you really care about people. So that help people to really be able to handle the stress of really going all out, but getting really constructive feedback. And that's so I have to be honest with you. I watch every single one of your past coaching calls, and even some of the old videos, and sometimes the videos that you put out, like in Facebook and YouTube and all these, even though they are not the private videos, but I still learn a lot, because every time when you gave feedback to people, you really care. You really went all out to help them. You are not like, this is not my paying client, I'm not going to help you. Oh, this one is not in the other program, I'm not going to help you. No, you always went all in, and this is why I felt such a big difference among from you to all these other gurus out there. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it, man. That means a lot to me. And I try not to call myself a guru. Well, I don't call myself a guru, but I get everybody calls me one. So I just eventually was like, all right, whatever, but I appreciate that. I do try to help solve the problem and not get wound up in silly stuff. Like if you have a problem and I can solve it, I try not to let you off the call until the problem is solved. So that's awesome, man. I appreciate you. I appreciate that. And I will continue to do my best to make sure that our coaching calls and the direct help that we give our clients, such as you, is at a high level. So speaking of that, if you were to pinpoint one thing of what made the program so effective so far, what would you pinpoint?
Wow, it's difficult because there's so many good things. So for the if I have to pick one thing, it is that your coaching is really a step by step. So there is nothing, you left nothing behind from us starting from nothing into really something that can make our course successful. For example, some of the technical stuff that we may have no idea, but you would have very detailed, sometimes even gave us the template, the blueprint, everything. We just download it and then change a few words and it's already there. And compared to other people that I have purchased and all, there's always this gap. Like, you never know when going from here to here, what do you do? But your class, it felt to me that you have updated your class probably 100 times to make it so smooth and perfect and so refined. So you don't have any BS basically in your class. Everything is right to the point. You wouldn't like decorate, sugarcoat something so that we feel like, oh, this is so great and all. Everything is to the point. Like if this is all you need is 15 minutes to master something, you spend 15 minutes with us. If it needs an hour, then you spend an hour. If you need 2 hours, then 2 hours. If it's 1 minute, you just spend 1 minute. There's nothing less, nothing more. And I think that kind of accuracy into addressing our issues and help us from beginning to the end is what I love about.
That's awesome, man. Thank you so much. This is great feedback too, so I know that what I'm doing right, I can keep doing. That's awesome. Cool. All right. So as a result of implementing all this, the outcome was that you did, and you can tell me in your own words, but the summary of it is that you did 20 grand on your beta webinar. Could you give me sort of like a little bit of an expanded summary on that? Maybe just 30 seconds, walk us through, on this day you did the webinar and then you made this, and just kind of give us like a walkthrough. How long were you in the program, before you did that initial beta webinar? Can you just give us a quick, like 30-second overview of how that all played out?
Sure. Yes. So I was in your program for about 2 months.
2 months. Okay.
Yeah, I started probably right after Christmas, and like the holidays and stuff. So I didn't start until January, which is like 2 months ago. And I basically followed your step by step, and I created my own community, and I did a lot of market research, and your coaching course really helps because. Sometimes I missed a few points, and then every time I got reminded, basically you were like on my side and reminded me what I didn't do right. So I did that. So basically after 2 months, I created a community. I did my my market research basically. So I suddenly become really. And this is very important too, because to help people, you really have to understand their key problem. You can't just force them to learn something that they didn't even think they have the problem, right? So that's the critical thing. So once I understand that, even though I didn't perform well as what you meant, as what you know about the internet and all these things, right? But you already told us. Another thing that I like about you is you gave us confidence too. Like you say, like, hey, and I haven't told you that. Like part of your the tutorials that you gave us is. Don't worry, guys. Even if you miss a few points in this, as long as you keep this and that, you'll be fine. And you know how important this is to me. Because at first I was like, what if I forgot to mention this? What if I forgot to mention that? But once I heard that, I said, oh, even if I miss a few points, I will still be okay. And that changed my mindset. You just say that, just be there, be true to yourself, and just like be honest and just go out to speak, and that really helps, because otherwise I would be like reading a script, and then once people sense that, you lose the that passion and the flow, right? So I just remember what you mentioned, and then I did my beta webinar 2 days ago for about hour and a half, and once finished, I told you I didn't even set the timer correctly. So I was supposed to give all the attendees an hour to decide, but the timer stopped 1 hour before that. So basically, I only in between the offer, it was just like maybe 15 minutes. But yeah, that's what happened. And when I checked, I got 70 people sign up, and I make 20 grand.
That is awesome. That is killer. Cool. I got one final question for you. First of all, I just want to say that, as much as I would love to claim all the credit for this, if you didn't take action, if you didn't come on the calls, if you didn't listen to the recordings, if you didn't go through the curriculum, if you didn't use the systems in place and the scripts, and if you didn't use all this and you didn't take action, you would not have made this money. Like, you can't just sign up to be a client of mine and then I deposit a check into your account. You did the work. So I have to give you massive amounts of credits, because not everybody, when they get into my program, this person's program, whatever, they don't take action. And that is the majority of why people don't get results. And I really try to, especially in like week 1, really try to set the pace in terms of mindset, productivity, getting you set and ready to go. And, you know, I hope that helped. But honestly, the real reason you're successful is because you took initiative, you took action on the curriculum, on the coaching, and you made it happen. So I want to congratulate you for that. And my final question is how, and I know it just happened, right? I know it just happened, but how so far has your life, your personal life changed since doing that beta webinar and making those sales, especially in the midst of all of this coronavirus stuff? How has your life changed since you've achieved this?
Oh, I'm glad you asked that question, because I would never knew how it felt until I finished it. Because right before that, I told you, every second in a day, I was asking myself, was I the stupidest person to try to sell something in the worst time in history, literally, when people are dying, basically, and the cities were being locked and all. And also, I don't know how, looking forward, I don't know how things are gonna be happening. The savings and everything is drying out. And so it's a lot of bad into it, and so the self-doubt and everything just like added in. But once you see that there are 70 people, like 20 grand, it's just like what you mentioned in one of your webinars too, when you mentioned your first success with your beta. Now I understand what you meant when you say that you are not only happy because you made that much money, but you knew that now it's like a whole new future happening to you, because you knew exactly what people like and what people would want to invest in. And this is really like all of a sudden everything becomes so clear. And so first of all, the self-confidence is back. Like now you knew that all this hard work, because you put in a lot of hard work, as just what you said. Like I'm glad you mentioned that too, because I think students also need to understand is they need to put a lot of effort, because what you talked about in the class, even though it sounded very simple because you already put it in such a concise way, but I have to listen to it so many times, and every time I got new ideas coming out. So I put a lot of effort to understand your teaching and how it apply into my own industry, because right every industry is different, right? In somebody are doing make money, somebody are doing health like fitness and all, somebody are doing relationship coach and for photography. So everything is different. So you have to really find this bridge, the connection to apply to it. So once you tested it and it worked, and the money is really not just good for the money itself, but it's really an indication that the approach is going to the right direction. And I think that, sorry, I keep like mumbling a lot, but I know.
You're good. I understand, man. You're excited. I'd be excited too. I was excited. I remember the first time I did a successful webinar, and we made 48 sales, and I was through the roof. And I was, like you said, I was happy about making that money, but you know, it was more that it was possible. I realized finally it was possible to make that. And I knew for the rest of my life, everything had changed, and I would never have to worry about money again. And that meant more to me than what I had made that day.
Yeah, and I originally, because of this time, you know, I really was expecting like 5 to 10 sales would be pretty good. So and as you taught us for beta, it is good to have a small group to help them, right? And right now, I haven't even done the encore, so hopefully I can get a few more.
Oh yeah, you can get do the encore. You'll get more sales. You might even double it, you know, or at least make 50% more sales. You can totally. Yeah. Wow. You haven't even so you did the beta process as outlined in the course, and you only did one. You didn't do the encore.
No.
Go do that. You got some more money coming to you. That's even better of a testimonial.
Yeah.
Wow.
And indeed, there were more than 10 people who emailed me saying that, hey, Pinman, I missed the offer. Can I sign up again? And I haven't even had time to get back to them, because the
Because
other
you're on
good thing,
this interview with me. You
yeah,
better go get your money.
yeah, and also the good thing was the group who just joined the beta. You told us to create a community for them, right? And before I even started that, they were already emailing me about how my beta webinar helped them to change their mindset and how excited they were in. So the last 2 days I've been communicating with them. They were all super excited about this. And so suddenly you realize that, okay, you really have something that can provide value to them and maybe even help them make a change in their life. So that's really the powerful thing. And now I know why you're so passionate about your industry.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I
Yeah.
totally agree. Tin Man, is that, by the way, do you go by that? Is that like your nickname, Tin Man?
I know what you mean. So Tin Man is given by my dad gave me the name. He's a Chinese. He doesn't know English.
Oh,
So Tin so it's in Cantonese. So Tin means sky. So you know Chinese, right? We always want to give the son or the daughter a name that means good luck, right? So Tin means sky, Man means knowledge. So he wanted to give me a sky of knowledge, but when I came to the United States more than 20 years ago, and I came and like sometimes I got pulled over by the cop, or when I got through the customs, said, "Is this your real name?"
I just
Yeah, so
thought you were like a huge fan of The Wizard of Oz.
I
Like,
know. Yeah, so that you never know.
cool, man.
That's
Thank
the
you,
real name.
dude. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story with us. And I hope that this video, this interview, not only encourages our existing students and our existing clients to take even more action and get even more results, because the more we share these results, the more everybody like really puts in more work, because it's really motivating, but also helps anybody else out there to realize that you can do it. You can do it right now, even if the economy is down and the virus and all that. And at the same time, if anybody is considering getting into our program and becoming one of our clients, and they watch this, they can see that, we really do care, and we really try to get everybody results, and we'll work with you to make sure it happens. So thank you so much for coming on. And I can't wait to hear about your encore and all the stuff you got coming up. And I can't wait till you hit that 7-figure mark. I know it's going to happen for you.
All right. Thank you so much for that. Yes, I'll definitely keep you posted.
Thanks, man.
All right.